Right, well, welcome everyone to a Zoom. I'm in South Africa. I know most of you are in New Zealand and all over the world, but it has been way too long since our last get together like this. So in the midst of selling our house, moving out of that, I got smashed with a fever right before like the few days we've got on the plane. Been here in South Africa for just over a week right now, absolutely loving it. The weather's cranking. It's apparently winter, but I don't believe them because just to make you all, if you're in some cold temperatures right now, it is stunning here. It's 19 degrees and it's 9 in the morning. It's gonna be a high of 26 today. This is apparently winter in South Africa. So anyway, all I can say is enjoying living the fit life of trade, travel, and transform. And so to kick it off in that sense, if you're watching this for the first time, if someone invited you here, you're catching this replay later. My name is Ty Stevenson. I'm usually based in Auckland, New Zealand. Right now I'm in Durban, South Africa with my wife's extended family and just living life on level 10, living the life of adventure. Went all in this space just over 3 years ago, decided, God really led us very clearly and said, you need to learn about crypto. You need to learn about the markets. You need to learn how money works. So dived in, canceled Netflix, canceled Disney, just canceled all the distractions, even the things that were good for me that weren't great for me in the season, pulled back from competing in CrossFit, basically stopped going to the gym. That's not advice for some of you. That was just me. We were in lockdowns, but just knew that if we wanted to experience serious change, I needed to make some serious change. So I was getting up early, putting in the time on, go live, listening to professionals in the mornings, just learning how this stuff works. And fast forward 3 years, I cannot even begin to tell you how much it has changed our family's life and the lives of those in our community that are doing this at an all-in level. And so, somewhere this might be day 1 for you, this might be day 1,000 for you. No matter where you are, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 10. And just realize there's a lot of distractions out there in the world right now. There's even a lot of distractions in different ways that you can get distracted, even in the midst of crypto, or even in the midst of investing and trading, because there's so much noise. There's people out there that want to scare you to sell, to get out of the space. It's a scam. Don't believe in it. But all I'll say is follow the money. Go and watch what the big players are doing. I mean, I'm not definitely an advocate for people like BlackRock and what they stand for. At the end of the day, they still have the most assets under management. And I don't know the number, but it's massive. And if they're buying Bitcoin at an aggressive level, and the guy that heads up BlackRock, Larry Fink, comes out and says, you know what, I was wrong about this. I didn't understand it. I did my research and I believe that Bitcoin is a legitimate store of value. And we've pivoted and now, etc. Launched an ETF, buying up tons of it. And when the markets were crashing the other day, none of them were selling an ounce of what they own. They were buying more. And big money understands this. Whales understand this. And so we're on this journey of learning how to actually become wise with our money and our mindset, because when the markets tank, when the emotions are roaring, going, is this over? Is this bull run not happening? Everyone is usually like, am I supposed to sell right now? And I'm not calling anyone dumb, but dumb money sells. And we're on the journey of becoming smart money. We want to learn how to buy when whales are buying and how to sell when whales are selling, and not follow the masses and our Uber drivers. Because if your Uber driver is telling you about crypto, that is one of the signs that you should be selling. So anyway, without any further ado, guys, just really one last thing before we dive into the hot sauce tonight that I know Damon and I have got to share with you. It's just, being on this trip, being away with family, just remind me so much of what are we doing this for? Because some of us, we get up super early, we're working multiple jobs, we're studying, we're learning new skills. But when you get to just get away and spend time with the ones that you love, and you've got the freedom to just do that, and you don't have to worry about the bills or the whatever, it is an extremely refreshing situation to know that I'm good. No matter where I am in the world, I've actually got an opportunity, I've got a skill set where I have got the ability to make money online from anywhere. And it doesn't matter if markets are going up or down. It's great when they're going up if you're investing, but when you're trading, it doesn't matter if they're going down. And we'll dive into a little bit more of that later, but just identifying, this idea that I burn for more than anything, and I know some of you do as well, of the fit life, freedom, influence, and transformation. Getting yourself to that point of freedom on the inside first. And and this is something I was chatting to Richard about it for a long time last night, and talking about this idea of freedom is that some people show up and they chat to him and myself about wanting to dive into entrepreneurship and really nail business, but sleeping 4 hours a week, pretty much obese, horrible eating habits, terrible, relationship statuses left and right, and just recognizing the fact that, maybe step 1 isn't diving into a new entrepreneurship venture. Step 1 might be getting your sleep right, getting your eating right, getting your mindset right, and then from there being able to stack those dominoes in your favor so that when you launch into learning something new like finance or crypto, you've already got some momentum in your life happening. And being okay to just give yourself grace and time to zoom out and look at your life and go, okay, this is where I'm at. Maybe I need to experience a bit more freedom in my mindset right now. I know Bernice shared super well in our group chat this week about her journey in that, of really having to lean more into the mindset. And she's convinced that trading is 99% psychology. And I guarantee most of us aren't spending 90% of our time on our psychology. So anyway, in that, freedom on the inside, freedom in your spirit, freedom in your mind, your heart, your emotions, your body, and then freedom will start to show up in your pocket as well. But it starts with embracing that journey of learning, always having that humble perspective of I don't know what I don't know. There's people around me that have got results. I'm going to lean into what they're talking about, what they're reading, who they're listening to, because I've got to recondition the way that I'm thinking and believing. Because how many we're wired for greatness, but we've been programmed for failure by our surroundings. And so with that, guys, freedom, influence, transformation, influence being leadership. As you begin to grow on this journey and step into more freedom, there are people around you, beside you, behind you that are looking for you to turn on your leadership and actually help them take steps forward as well. And so no matter whether it's your kids, your family, those at school, university, or work, there's someone looking to you that you are going to be able to help along this journey. So embracing that influence and leadership opportunity and transformation, we all get to, once we step into that abundance, pour out and help those around us in whatever ways or projects you are most inspired about. Rich and I were having a long chat last night about, rescuing kids, that whole thing. There's crazy stuff going on in the world, guys. And to make big impact, a big transformation, it takes funds. To bring change, to be able to go to those dark places, most of it needs money. And so that's what we're here for, to create that abundance, not just for ourselves, but then to be able to turn around and overflow and help others. So without further ado, guys, let's dive into it. So I want to say again, massive welcome if you're tuning in a little late or catching this later. But, myself, really obsessed with this idea that, we're in a pivotal point in history. The world of finance is changing in a rapid way. How many of you know that we're not walking around, buying and selling and bartering with blocks and rocks and coins? I don't know if you know this, but I went to the bank a year ago in Howick, in Auckland City, in New Zealand, and I asked for cash, and they had no cash in the bank. No cash. They told me they hold no cash. And I was like, what is going on here? I could go to the ATM and get some cash, but the bank held no cash. And I don't know if you're realizing this, but they're moving in a direction where they no longer want cash to be around. They're moving towards being able to force us towards digital currencies. And those won't be good ones. Central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, are bad news. Thankfully, Trump has already said he will never have anything to do with that. He's all about maintaining personal custody of your crypto, etc. Anyway, I won't get into the political side of things right now. But all you got to know is when your bank starts to tell you we're offering you digital currencies, that is a red flag. And so we're on this journey here, learning how to do this the right way. So aside from that, there's a lot going on in the world right now. And, I'm going to invite Damon on to share in a minute as well. But I don't know if you've been watching closely. There's been a whole lot going on with Japan and, massive rewinds and unwinds of trades and finance, because I'll just give you the flyover if you're new to this. But Japan had like 0 interest rates for a very, very long time. And so their people were able to borrow money and then go and invest it in overseas, whether it was overseas stock markets, whether it was Bitcoin, even their own stock markets in Japan. And then basically the Bank of Japan increased the interest rates by like 0.25%. People started freaking out, realizing, we've got to unwind our investments because now we have to pay interest. And there was a lot of money in those investments. And so that caused a major sell-off in the markets last week, caused the VIX, the volatility index, to spike to insane levels. I might bring up the chart later on. But basically, I had levels marked out on my VIX chart, and it smashed through like 5 alerts all in one day. And if you go back and look in time at the VIX, I might show it later. When COVID happened, there was a dip in COVID where the markets tanked, the VIX spiked to a certain level. And back in, 2008, the global financial crisis, the VIX spiked to a certain level. We didn't quite spike exactly those levels the other day, but we spiked very, very close to those kinds of significant levels. And when that happens, that is historically the best time to be buying. When there's a lot of fear in the market, we're supposed to be when there's a lot of fear in the market, we're supposed to buy. When there's a lot of greed, we're supposed to sell. And so you got to ask yourself, what emotions were you feeling in the last few days? If your portfolio was going through the floor, were you looking at buying more, or were you looking at selling? And that's just the indication of where we're at in the space of realizing, like, I was in an airport in Dubai trying to buy the dip with a different bank and a different card, and I got locked out. My bank decided to not let that transaction go through, freeze my account, and told me I need to get on the phone and talk to them. I then had to answer a bunch of questions about crypto. They wanted to educate me on the whole thing. It was while I'm about to board a plane, trying to buy Polkadot under $4. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But it was just frustrating realizing that they're trying to protect us, but at the same time, they're not keen on us unbanking ourselves. So anyway, without further ado, guys, let's bring on Damon to jump on with us, because I know that he's definitely got some fire to add to the equation. And we'll go backwards and forwards a bunch, and maybe even do some Q&A later on. So guys, those of you who don't know who this man is, He's been in the crypto space longer than me. He is an absolute wizard. He understands the space at a high level. He consults at a very high level to different crypto communities, works for the World of Women NFT program, which is massive, manages that Discord. He's won international awards from Ledger. Most of you know the little thumb drives that we use basically to secure our crypto. So he understands security at a very high level. He understands the space at a high level, and it's always such a privilege to be able to host him and have him to jump on and add some value to our community. Amongst being in our group chat, he's here with us tonight. So, bro, let me find you. I can see you. I just have to figure out how to pin you because I'm on a laptop here. There we go. Gotcha.
No,
Bro,
you're good.
so good to see your face.
What's up? What's up? What's up? How are you, man?
So good, man. So good. I know it's the evening there and it's a little earlier than usual. I know I got family happening in the background, but just want to say thank you, man, for jumping on.
Mm,
I know you're tracking this stuff as closely as I am, and yeah, just to bring our community up to speed. I know a lot of us are tracking
yeah.
with crypto. A lot of us are watching Cobain and Zatero and Nick Gomez and all our educators, Corinne Florence, and but I know you and I go a little bit further. And so yeah, just to bring a little
Mm,
bit of a an overview of what we've been observing lately, and just bring us all up to the speed of family so that we continue to go from there. So I'm gonna hand over to you for a few minutes, and we'll go
yeah.
backwards and forwards. So guys, drop some love and fire in the chat.
Awesome. What's up? What's up? What's up? Before I share my screen, I really got a question. I just want to ask every single person here on this chat. What's going on in the world right now? Does anyone have an idea? Drop in this chat box what you know of that's happening right now in the world. Let's go. Mm-hmm. What else? Mm-hmm. What else? I see war, I see control, unrest, fear, distractions, chaos, shaking, opportunity. What's the news really talking about right now? You know, what's been going on the past 1, 2 months really? What do we hear about a lot, right? We hear a lot about politics. You know, elections in the US, it's like taking over the world, right? Then the whole thing with the Olympics, it's like taking over the world, you know? And for those that haven't really heard of this concept, who here knows what a Colosseum is? Anyone knows what a Colosseum is? Yeah, where they had these what is it, gladiators, you know, and what did they say? These kings or whatever, the Caesars, they said, you know, you give them bread and you give them games, and they'll be docile forever and they won't fight back. What's happening right now with the Olympics? You know, the whole world is consumed by sports. Someone else is making $250,000 by winning a golden medal, and everyone else is just watching that. I'm like, what? It's insane. You know, same with the news. You know, what's going on? Elections, you know, assassinations, all of these things. There's war, Iran, Israel, Palestine. I don't know. So many things happening. And then finance world, you know, you got the crypto shakeups, like crazy dips in the stock market. Like things are going crazy. Warren Buffett selling all his asset, going into cash. You know, Japan, oh my God. There's so much going on. But if you just listen and tune all of that noise out, it's very clear what you can hear. If you really listen closely, you can hear the money flow into the right kind of assets. And all these wealthy people know, and Warren Buffett is just getting ready to put his money somewhere else. He's not going cash because, you know, oh my God, you know, I just need to cash out. He knows something's coming, either in stocks or whatever it happened. Something's going to happen and he's cash ready. And this is what the wealthy do. So you want to know how to be rich, follow where the money goes. You know, you follow the money and you put a little bit of money, you piggyback on that, you can make some money yourself. So look and listen and see, watch what's happening. Everything around us is just to really make sure that you're distracted, because if you're caring about what's happening, oh my God, in Palestine and in Israel, the Olympics, oh my God, demonic, this, you're not watching the charts and you're not there to catch onto at 50 cents. You're not there to catch Polkadot at $3. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people in this world that know more about what's happening in the world than what's happening with their own finances. And they know more than what's happening in the world and what's on the news than how to make money. And that's a concern. But that's exactly what they want. And we're not going to go too deep into that. And we're not going to go into the nitty-gritty of politics and, you know, who they are. But let's just say there is a reason for all of these things. And if you're well aware of it, you don't need to go and do all the research. It's literally waste your time. I've seen people like lose their minds over this stuff. But if you focus and have the understanding like, okay, well, this is happening. Now turn the volume down and look at the charts. Now, let's see. Can you let me share my screen, Ty? Ah, awesome. Let's see if I can. I'll go to the desktop and let me know if you guys can see my screen. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. So who here knows what happened? I mean, Ty, come on. It was some crazy times. You know, you're in the airport. You watch all of this happen literally in real time. You're about to buy crypto and your bank says, sorry, we don't want you to leave. We want you to stick with our system. We don't want you to go and buy some Polkadot at $3. Well, I mean, what was going on in your head at that point?
Oh man, I was frustrated. Like, you know, watching the charts so closely, and at the same time, it just reminded me like I wasn't ready in that moment. Like, I had funds in a different bank as usual. Like, I've made transactions in the fly before, but tried a different one. Was locked out of that one. But this is the thing. You know, you've got to. There's ways to obviously, you know, have money on exchanges and have them ready for certain levels and things. I just didn't have that all set up. In the midst of moving house, doing all those things, it just was a reminder to me of how you've got to put in the work and be prepared to pull the trigger before the target shows up. Because the target wasn't there for very long. Bitcoin was down to 49K. Bitcoin under 50K. And plenty of other assets at insane levels, and then just feeling the frustration of I'm literally stepping onto the plane right now. What is price going to look like in 10 hours time when I get off? Knowing that it's not going to live here very long. So anyway, yeah, man, learns another lesson. You're always learning on this journey, but still grateful that we've still got some time.
It was such a fast dip. If I'm just looking at this chart right here on CoinGecko, it's not too accurate, but it's like 5th of August, 6th of August is that big dip, and 7th of August, we're already like going up again. It's like insane how fast this goes. And then on the 7th, the same day, it like instantly goes up in hours. And then the 7th, we're pretty much back at 56,000. And then from there on, August 9, back at like 61, close to 62, 61 and a half. It's insane. I mean, it was expected. If you really go and look at, you know, let me go and pull up trading view. And if we go to Bitcoin, now if we go and look here, sorry, got some old markings up here. Let me just go quickly to the daily so I have some better overview. Let me zoom in so you guys can clearly see what I'm talking about. So if we go and I'll you know, make a fib. Let me just clear this up for you guys so you guys can all see this right in the beginning. Awesome. So if we go from here and I'll take this and I'll go from a low point right here to a high point right here. No, that's the, hold on, I already charted that up. Let me just go to the 4-hour. Here we go. That's the one I wanted. And this is insane what I'm going to show you guys. It's like as if we knew what was going to happen. Like this is so accurate. This is so predictable that when you see this, you're going to be like, what the actual heck is going on in this space? So I'll just take this one. We're going to go from low point to high point over here. Now, if you guys can quickly look, we came real close. Now, if I mark this zone up for you guys, 786, 886 zone. If I just go zoom in a little bit more so I have this really accurate for y'all. You can see how close we got to that 786, 886 zone on our fib. Like it's I think if I look at a different chart, Bitstamp, if I look at a different chart, it might as well just wick right into it. Now, something even crazier, if I go and delete this, if I go back on the daily and we go low, let's see. And do I have another Bitcoin chart? Let me have a look real quick. I got this one. This one's nice. Maybe I can chart it up here. I'll go way back on this. So I'll go all the way here, all the way here. That's also not the right chart. Sorry, guys. I'm just not finding the chart that I just marked up for you guys prior to this. I had everything ready on it. Okay, well, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, moving on. If we see, it literally just whipped. I think if I just show you guys where some liquidity was waiting, if you guys see this little candle right here, see this candle right here? All the way over here. Can everyone see this? This, if you take this one up, and that's from a previous, and I put this on this candle right here, look at that. It came all the way. It literally wicked on that line, literally on it. Like, I can't be even more clear than this right here. Like, if this is why I love fibs, this is science, right? This is like universe, this is God, this is like, I can't even explain this. It came right there, it touched it, and it went back up. That's how crazy accurate these things are. Now you look at this stuff, 4 years ago, I had no clue what was happening in the space. I had no clue what was going on here. Now you look at something like Ondo, okay? Who here knows what Ondo is? So I know Kurt and Mike talked about Ondo quite a lot. Now Ondo dipped all the way to 51 cents. 51 cents. Drop a 333 in the chat if you caught Ondo at 51 cents. I know, Ty, you really wanted to buy Polka Dot. It didn't really go well, but it's fine. Let's see.
There you go. Lisa,
not 51, but in the 50s. Wow. Oh, that's amazing. That's cool. But yeah, now, like, think about it. Is anyone here good at math? Ty, are you good at math? Like, I don't know what percentage it is, but it looks like what, 40%, something like that. I don't know.
If you
so that's insane. So
think it's up at 75, that's a 50% jump.
Exactly. So that's insane, right? So it went all the way up to, what is it, like 80 cents. So if you're new, or you're already in crypto and you've been listening to the classes and you've had some money waiting on the side, this was the perfect time to get in. Now, days that, for example, people like Mike, Kurt, Ty, and myself look into. Ty, do you know what days they are? You mentioned them before.
Sorry, I missed you for a second. Keep going. I missed what you said.
So red days.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. So we're looking for red days. Now, if we go back to here, like, we can look at something like Sui. It's grown 68% in the last 7 days. 68. I think the educators talked about Sui a few times as well. So if we look at, where it went in the dip, it went all the way to 47 cents. And now, it went all the way up to $1.10. If you catch these plays and you you see this going down, like right now it's back at 90, and you're not playing the long-term game, and you're like, hey, I'm here to make some profits, you put in $100, you ride it all the way to the top, and now that you see that it's drawing down or coming down, you take what you initially put in out. Now it's a risk-free trade, okay? And literally like that, you can just let it ride until the end of the bull run, because you got your money back, right? And whatever's on top of that is extra. Did you manage to buy anything at all, Ty, or did you fully get blocked?
Fully locked out, got off the plane.
And no!
busy organizing my next play, which is going to be good.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's insane. Oh, that's crazy. Nah, man, I've had an issue as well like that. I wanted to buy some crypto, and so I'm going, and I see the charts dipping, and I'm like, okay, let me buy, and it wouldn't let me buy that amount. It blocked me. It was too much to buy in one go. So I like did half and I did half again and I wanted to do more. And it's like, you've reached your daily limit. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. It was a real frustrating day for me because I'm trying to figure out why it's not working. But yeah, if we look at projects like XRP, you know, we all got XRP in our portfolio. And if you don't have it, well, you know, you might want to get some or wait for a little pullback. It went to 44 cents, 45 cents, closer to 45 cents, 44, 45 cents. And it went all the way up to like close to 70 cents. Like, where did we go? Like 63 cents. Like, that's amazing. Like, just in this little time span. Now, this is what I really wanted to show you guys. We look for red days, and on the red days, like if you look at the first, you know, you go to coingecko.com. Let me just reload this page so you guys can see it. You see Bitcoin, you know, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, and you see all of this just in red, and everything you just keep scrolling down and it's all in red. That's what we call red days, right? And I'm not talking about the ones where you see 0.1%, 0.2%. I'm talking about the ones where you see 5, 10, 20, 30, 40% in red, okay? And this can happen over a 7-day span or 2-day span. Usually, you know, we're gearing up to that big explosion. So I'd say like 1 or 2 days, these dips last, maybe 3. But we then go on here, click on the 7-day. You know, if I click it, you see the 7-day. Who has gained the most in the last 7 days? And if I click it again, who has lost the most in the 7-day span? You can do this for 24 hours, and you can do this, you know, also for who's lost the most in 24 hours. Same with 1 hour. Now, we do this with the 7-day. We look at what has dipped the most. Now, when I did this to Ondo during that dip, and I saw Ondo at like 50 cents, I'm like, okay, this is the time I'm looking at. I saw minus 45% or 47% with Ondo. So for those of us that have been here and have been watching the classes, we've been keeping an eye on Ondo. But for those that are new, if you keep a coin or a token or a project, whatever, a crypto, if you keep an eye out on it and you're following it and you're looking at what's happening with the price action and you're looking what's happening and you believe firmly in that project and, you know, you've heard some about it, you've done your research and you're like, okay, this is a project I can stand behind and I can invest in. And if you look at what's been happening in the you know, near past, I'm not going to go too deep, but if we see that Ondo was, you know, at what was it, 80, 90 cents, like close to $1, like this is insane. So if you see a project like that that went so strong, and now I'm gonna blow your mind with this real quick for those that don't know or for those that know and just needed a little refresher. So if we go to Ondo, I'm going to the max. So Ondo's max right here is $1.50. So it went to $1.50. Now, does anyone know why we had this incredible jump to 150? So a lot of people found out that these guys were backed by BlackRock. Now, if you don't know who BlackRock is, Ty, who's BlackRock?
Oh, you know, just the people that pull the strings and have the largest assets under management on the planet.
Let's see how many assets they had. I think how many they got, like they got $10 trillion in assets. $10 trillion. And this is from 2023. This is insane. So these guys are one of the biggest, or if not the biggest investment firm in the entire planet. If there's anything that you have at home or anything that you consume or anything that you wear or anything that you use to wash clothes or clean, these guys own the majority of stock of it. If it's out there and you know the brand, they own the majority stock of that company. They pretty much own all the companies in the world in a sense, you know, stock wise. So this is insane. So these guys, you know, they got a team that's worked for Goldman Sachs, Bridgewater, Millennium, BlackRock. So these are like investment firms. So you can go and look into these guys. But yeah, Ondo, institutional grade finance now on chain. Now, this was a problem back in the days because this was just in Web 2. Now it's on chain. So there's, how to say that in a very simple term? There's no way that these guys can do fraud, or there's no way these guys can embezzle or trick the populace because every transaction is visible on the blockchain. So it makes things way safer. And it's also another way for these companies to be held accountable for whatever they do. Very exactly, Maria, transparent. So now that we know all of this stuff, right? Ondo. So I know Ondo is a great project. I know Ondo went to $1.50, and I saw Ondo dip to, let's see, if we go back, 51 cents or 50 cents, or I saw people caught it for 49 cents. So this is insane. So if I know that this is a company backed by BlackRock, do I think, or do you think, the value might return shortly after or in the near future? Drop a 222 in the chat if you think so. All right. We see 222, 222. Exactly. So that's what I think, based on me keeping an eye out on it and based on the research I've done. And, you hear Kurt and Mike, our educators, talk about it. Maybe I'll buy some. And sure enough, what happened in what is it, 2 days, Ty? What happened, Mike? what happened in 2 days? The price went up. It's insane. I just, yeah. What's your thoughts on this, bro?
Well, it's just understanding like those moments, right? It's like understanding how the money's moving around. Like if I'm gonna share my turn. I'm gonna share my screen. That's some fun. Let me get on here and here. I just gotta let me check if I can. I don't know if can you see that? I just want to check. I don't know if you're still pinned or if I'm still pinned.
Yeah, I can see a screen.
I'll remove your pin in case and then add mine, so then that should be good. But anyway, not there. Sorry, guys. That's the Facebook page. Before we do, I don't want to forget, if you guys are kind of semi-new to understanding Bitcoin at the foundational level, I posted this link inside the Fit Life Facebook group. God bless Bitcoin. Outstanding documentary to go and watch. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Share it with your friends that don't understand the space. Very, very well put together documentary that's free to watch, and it was done super well. So I just didn't want to forget that. But yeah, moving into what happened. So this is the VIX, the volatility index, and I'll never forget our educators like Patrick Keeney back in the day talking about this. And when treasury bonds and reverse yields and all that kind of weird, complicated stuff happened. But I remember that this doesn't, this maybe doesn't look that extreme. We're looking at a daily chart. Let's look at a weekly chart. So that back there is March 2020. So that's COVID. So this measures the volatility of the markets. And so you can see that since COVID, we've just been hanging out and grinding down and going sideways. And then bang, that was the other day. So you can tell at this point, this was pretty significant. What was the last time this thing got high? I think I don't know what happened there in 2018, but I'm looking for the big one. There we go. 2008, guys. There's the global financial crisis. So like giving you context, this is the third highest spike that we've just had in relation to the global financial crisis and COVID. We're sitting like that's what just happened. So just giving you context for how much fear was in the market this past week. I mean, looking at a weekly, like we've just started printing a new week. So if I go back to a daily, you're going to see, funny how it still looks kind of like a weekly cheat sheet when you look at it on a 4 hour. How that just looks like it right there, right? That's the weekly cheat sheet cycle. And be real interesting to see what happens from here. I mean, so that spike right there, which happened, on the 5th, you're going to look at any chart, you're going to see dips in relation to that. Probably not gold. You might see the opposite on gold. Let me get onto a different watch list here. Let's get onto that one and go like Damon was just showing. Like you've seen this already. Like the dips that took place were there, like all the way down to certain levels. And I saw even Maria was commenting on what it was. I mean, we got a rally-based rally. Mike spoke about this super well on his recent bootcamp. Price came up and paused and then went up. So what happens is you've got people they got their orders waiting here. There's money, there's unfulfilled orders sitting when price rams up, and then you got people that tried to sell it, but then price went the other way. And so price often returns to those levels. And so also, funny enough, to the top of that. So what was resistance became support. But anyway, there's also a bigger story going on here. There's other patterns that are taking place. I can't quite draw them on here, but we've basically got, what's the word I'm looking for? An expanding wedge, which is very bullish. So what happens usually, do I have my chart patterns behind me here? I don't even know if I do. Let's see if I've got it, that I can show you it on there. Oh, I don't quite have the right one. But that is a very, very bullish pattern. And this might be the lowest that we're gonna get. If we get lower, I'm gonna be jumping up and down. But when you look at certain projects, like the way that Solana has been able to bounce, so I'm gonna move my camera thing over here. Just trying to be able to see. So measuring tool, from Solana dipping down to that low. Solana's already bounced back 33%. Like, these are major projects. And if you look at every single time Solana dips, what happens? It shoots up like 50%. If it comes down a certain amount, and obviously these pullbacks, everything's been pulling back like this. 44% pullback. But when you understand the big picture of what's going on here with Solana and how it's been dubbed the darling child of this bull run, had this previous run in the last cycle up to as high as 260, pulls back down here, and no one's talking about it except our educators when it's like $8, $10, and $12, has this run of 800% up to 209. And just like every chart, it's pulling back and consolidating. And the longer the consolidation, the longer the compression, the more the spring compresses, the greater the launch. And so we're expecting some pretty big things from Solana, to say the least, on what's going to happen from here. So, Polkadot, I'm not going to get too much into it, but I mean, I've been tracking with this thing for a long time. It's going through a few things right now, but previously up at $55, and it's sitting down there. I still have faith in the developers and what's going on with that. It's just not obviously getting much attention right now. Chainlink, our educators sent through an entry for this recently as well, an Oracle solution that, it's part of a lot of different ecosystems. Sitting low, a lot of different projects, guys. I'm not Casper. If you can catch this low down, you're in an amazing space. This is also set to run. Bitcoin dominance is another conversation. I don't know if you guys, there's a guy named Benjamin Cowan. He's a Bitcoin dominance expert on YouTube land or whatnot. He understands this chart very well. This is tracking the dominance of Bitcoin versus everything else. And I think in the previous cycle, Bitcoin got as high as 60, 70% where it started to turn around. But what we mainly had last cycle was about 40% Bitcoin, 20% Ethereum. And Ethereum's nowhere near this right now on the dominance side of things. And what we have is Solana at about 3%. And I don't have the chart right here right now, but I'm watching some people break down, everything compared to Solana. When you look at the chart of Solana, how it's performing, we've got ETH is starting to get weaker in relation to Solana. And when you watch Bitcoin and Solana, basically we're going to have a flippening where what's going on right now is the reason this dominance is so high, the reason why 57% of the total money in crypto, so the crypto total right here, just over $2 trillion. This is all the money in crypto. And you got total 3, which is excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Don't know if it's including anything else. I'm a little blank right now. Someone will correct me. But then you got the dominance, which is showing the amount of that 2 trillion that is in Bitcoin. It's 57%. So in that sense, what happens? This is because you've got boomers entering the market in a big way with these ETFs and are starting to realize that this Bitcoin thing is a thing. And so this is going up. So what happens when this goes down? So as this Bitcoin dominance starts to drop, that's when money is going to start to flow from Bitcoin into other very well-established large alts like Solana, Ethereum. And then, there's got crazy things going on with memes right now. We're not going to get into that. But there is a money flow that takes place. And it does look different this time in some ways to others, where historically money just went straight into Ethereum and then XRP and then whatever those top large caps were, there are definitely some differences taking place. Solana is outperforming everything. Polkadot and Chainlink are super, super low. They're not performing at all like if you look closely like Solana, for instance. And so you can't just look at every project and think just because it's low, I'm being serious. I'm not putting all my eggs in Polkadot at all because it's not doing as well as what it was in the last cycle. It's still a long-term play, but you've got to have belief in the developers like Gavin Wood, he was part of Ethereum, etc. But I'm not putting all my eggs there at all. You've really got to look at this okay, if you want to make, depending on how conservative or how aggressive you want to be in building an investment portfolio, Bitcoin is your safest bet by a long shot, by an absolute long shot. And then from there, you go start going, okay, what else do I resonate with? You've got things like Ethereum. Right now, Ethereum got one heck of a bash in the last week or two. But a Solana, very, very safe bet right now. And the way that it responds, when that thing dips, it gets bought up like crazy. And so without getting more nerdy, guys, just wanted to highlight that, and definitely wanted to highlight, inside of, our academy, if you already watched this content or if you've seen this for the first time, the way Damon and I learned all this stuff is from listening to guys like this at the top. So we've got an academy that teaches you everything from, I don't have the foundations loaded up here, but there's videos that go through we've got boot camps that are for when you're brand new, when you're past brand new and you're listening to professionals. This is their, when they're live. Mike Sotero just did a Prepare for Euphoria boot camp. So he does 1 or 2 maybe per year where he gets into, a fresh boot camp, a fresh perspective of what's going on in the market. Like he's got a DeFi summer one here, understanding decentralized finance, DeFi being decentralized, TradFi, traditional finance. But over here, you've got day 1, day 2, day 3 of preparing for euphoria. So what is euphoria? That is when the markets are at their absolute peak. Everyone feels like a genius, and it's right before a crash. And so he's educating us on how to move towards that phase and learn how to deal with our portfolio. So maximizing all of crypto, smart charts with exits, and structure before the next halving. But this one right here, honestly, this middle one, I really appreciated the way he broke down charts and structure. When I say structure, higher highs, higher lows, and then also talking about going from one project into another. So as one project was ramping up, he was exiting that one and looking for another one that was about to run, and then getting into that one. And so riding these waves according. And so, you don't have to know how to chart overnight. Swipecoin is an app this is the desktop version where our educators like Mike and other guys are sending us day trading ideas that a lot of us already know about. You can copy and paste, and exchange ideas. So I'll quickly show you the results first. Like if you're looking to trade, here's the 11th of August, guys. Here's the trade that, Mike sent through on Solana. Another one on Ethereum from Nick, another one, that just goes on. And not every single one of these hits at all, but the majority, you only have to win like 30 to 40% of these trades to be profitable when their exits are exit 2 and 3. But exchange ideas, if you want to build a portfolio and you haven't got a clue about what XRP is or what Chainlink is, and you're just getting started, you just have to come on here and look at this and go, okay, here's a picture. XRP sitting at 47 cents. If it dips into these blue levels right here, which are already labeled for you, suggested entry, 46, 36. Anywhere between 36 cents to 46 cents is a good entry for XRP. And then you can look to take profit at 64 cents, $1.10, $1.50. And what if you want a few more things? You want to, spread out your portfolio. So, you're not going to put all your eggs in one basket. So Chainlink, like I said before, its high is like 40 something dollars. I think he actually spoke about it down in there were notes on the phone app. But anyway, there we go. All-time high of $50. So he's saying anywhere between $6 to $9, great place to get some Chainlink. And then you can hold accordingly as long as you want. You can get out quick or hold. It all depends on your personal strategy. There's Compound. Damon was talking about Compound just earlier, like with me when we were having a chat. All these different opportunities. That's Helium. Guys, I remember when Curtis Cobain was talking about Helium in the last cycle when it was $1. And this thing ramped up to, I believe, around 44 or 40 something in the previous cycle. And here's an opportunity for you to get into it at at $2 to $3. I think it's sitting a little higher than that right now, but it's still a project that has got a lot of use case and a lot of opportunity. And so pay attention. That's all I'm going to say. Pay attention and learn how to either structure your portfolio. Those are let me unshare my screen for a second. Learn how to structure your portfolio, take the money and the cash flow that you do have and invest it. And then trading's in the conversation. But investing, guys, this is how the rich get richer. They decide I'm going to allocate this percentage of my income, my cash flow, to investing, this much to saving, so I have more dry powder or cash ready to invest when there's a big dip. So I've got some cash reserves, and then your lifestyle is determined after that. Whereas most of us probably grew up with, we've got this income, this is the lifestyle we want, these are the cars we want, we can finance this, and then there's pretty much nothing left to save and pretty much absolutely nothing left to invest. And most of us probably weren't taught by a rich dad how to invest and how to set aside money to dollar cost average every week. So it's just setting aside, every week, $10, $100, $1,000, I'm going to be putting into the markets, looking for opportunities, putting my money where I know over time it's going to grow. It might not grow overnight, but over time it will. And that's the mindset that we're learning here. How to actually dollar cost average, how to become investors, grow the investor mindset, and grow the investor skill set. So one more thing I have to screen share with you because this is huge. We're inside. A lot of you know, like I even had a message from a tradie friend in New Zealand earlier on. I just want to check the chat. I can see there's a lot going on there and I can't see it on my little laptop. Lots of different, okay, cool. Sweet, we're good. So one more thing I want to share with you. Where are we? This 18.6 year market cycle. Drop a 222 in the chat if you've heard of this before. So there's a massive, where's the image? I've got an image loaded that I think was a little bit easier to see, but this will do. It's probably going to take me to Jason Bizzino's. Yeah, there we go. So been following this guy a little bit. Just want to see here we go. Here's this image. So this guy tracks the cycle of real estate, stocks, and crypto. And he talks about this 18.5, 18.6 year real estate cycle that we're in. At the same time, what happens in these cycles? And we're basically here right now in this winner's curse phase where price is going up. Everyone looks like a genius. Markets have just been pumping. You could go back to previous lows. And these different dates here are different times we've been in these cycles. And over here, you can see 2025, 2026 is where we're heading in towards a peak and a collapse and a major recession. And so this has happened over and over and over again. And right now we are inside this 2-year winner's curse phase where everyone's a genius, everyone's portfolios are pretty much going up, but you've got to understand that these cycles don't last forever. And so in the midst of understanding these cycles, we have the opportunity right now to be investing. We've got a halving that just took place in Bitcoin, which always coincides with the 4-year cycles of the American elections as well. And so we've got all this uncertainty, this distraction, whether it's the Olympics or the politics, leading up towards the election in November. And also the next run in crypto, because crypto is going to run and it's going to hit a peak run. It's somewhere between May to October next year. That's probably when we'll get a blow off top. Now, none of this is biblical, like written in stone, but this is what has happened over and over and over and over again, at least for the previous, 12 years that we've experienced these cycles. And everything else follow these cycles pretty clearly. Crypto is not isolated. Crypto is not the only thing that booms. The stock market has been pumping. And when the stock market crashes, crypto does as well, because people are going to take their profits from crypto to cover their losses in the stock market. But either way, these things are booming. Now, there's a very big conversation around, where money moves when things crash in a big way. Like historically, obviously it's been gold. And so my wife and I, we believe in gold. At the same time, we're looking at what is a change, right? We're looking at a world that's gone digital. Like since the last recession, major one in 2008, Bitcoin was created after that for this very reason. And so will money fly into Bitcoin in unprecedented ways? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but I have a lot of belief in it. And so at the same time, I'm not married to my investments. Like if things are tanking, there are very strong reasons to sell and wait for things to dip, be cash ready to buy the bottom. That is how the rich get richer. They have money to invest when things are cheap. And so that is what we're preparing ourselves for here, is be building those portfolios right now. Be aware that nothing goes up forever. But obviously we've got guys like, Mike Cicero, Curtis Cobain, educating us along the way on a daily for when that top's going to come. There's lots of ways that we can tell when tops are in place. You're never going to call it perfectly, but just as we dollar cost average into investments, we dollar cost average out of them. So as things are going up, we're taking profit and exiting. There's definitely an argument to be held around like holding a certain amount of Bitcoin forever and just not letting go, because there is less than 500,000 people on the planet that own more than one. And so if you can get yourself to a position of owning more than one Bitcoin, guys, you're setting yourself and your family up for a different level of generational wealth. That's all I'm going to say, because there's only 21 million, or there's only 19 right now-ish, but there will ever only be 21 million. And I loved how Kurt was breaking down yesterday how we were going to be talking about Satoshis more than Bitcoin eventually because of just the scarcity factor. But really knowing that it is a very, very unique asset that wealthy people want, and they're not going to sell it. They buy assets and then they borrow against the assets. So I can tell you now, wealthy people, the way Kurt broke it down yesterday was gold. Go watch that session. He talked about wealthy people accumulating Bitcoin, not selling it, but borrowing against it. Borrowing against that to invest into other things. And they do not want to let go of their Bitcoin because they understand it's not actually, what was that phrase? I don't know if any of you remember. It was, did I take a photo? I think I did. It was a really funny word. It was called, I've got it on here. I screenshotted it. It was called someone's probably put it in the chat already, a Veblen good. I don't know how to I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Veblen good. A good for which demand increases as the price increases. Veblen goods are typically high quality goods that are well made, exclusive, and a status symbol. Veblen goods are generally sought after by affluent consumers who place a premium on the utility of the good. That is how Cobain was describing Bitcoin yesterday and how wealthy people are approaching this thing. They realize it's scarce. They realize it's going to be one heck of, not just a status symbol, but a store of value, like BlackRock, Larry Fink has said. So guys, saying all this to say, just be aware of the time and space that we're in right now. It is an extremely unique time to be investing, to be taking advantage of these dips. It's just unique. That's all I'm going to say. And yeah, I'm not saying go out and sell your kidney or anything to go all in, but you've got to figure out for yourself, like zoom out, like what is 2030, 2034, 10 years from now, looking back at Bitcoin, looking further ahead. There's all sorts of crazy things to be said about like, will we have seasons where we have no electricity and no internet and, crazy world wars, all of that. Whatever. Either way, you've got to figure out whether you diversify and have some silver, have some gold, have some cash, have some Bitcoin, whatever that looks like. You've got to figure out what being prepared for yourself and your family looks like, and then zooming out and going, what would my kids think looking back and be able to say like, Dad, you had the opportunity to buy Bitcoin when it was that price. And like looking ahead and going, the world is showing up like way more than they ever have before. When you've got the amount of ETFs and the attention, the general mentality around Bitcoin has completely shifted because of the likes of Larry Fink and BlackRock and other major ETFs, and the rest of the world catching up. So we're still early. Anyway, all that to say, there's the investing side, and then realizing that when that cycle comes to an end, when we have a blow off top, when things start to crash, then you're not making money in your investing portfolio. Then things are going through the floor. You're learning how to exit, be cash ready, and then the only way to make money is trading. And that's why I pivoted into trading after November, 2.5, whatever it was, years ago, when the markets tanked, because none of us were making money in our portfolios. And I realized, like, hey, wait a minute, how did this academy start? Oh, it started around trading, because our CEO was a genius trader for 20 years. And so that's when, we're going to pivot more into learning how to sell and make money on leverage coming down, because no one else is making money when things are coming down unless they're trading. And so those are the skills that all of us already have access to and are learning, but don't take it for granted that because everything comes to an end in those cycles. And when things tank, we also are going to be able to take those cells that, they give it to us in Swipecoin, but you can learn for yourself and do in your own time. So Damon, I want to hand it back to you, bro. If you've got any other final thoughts, anything that's mulling around your head, I'm sure you do, chime back in, my friend. Let's keep flowing.
I mean, I just really want to emphasize the fact that, there's not enough Bitcoin in the world or even left. There's so much Bitcoin that's lost, stuck. There's not enough Bitcoin in the world for every single millionaire on the planet to own one full Bitcoin. Like that alone, once this thing really starts to pop off and like things are gonna go crazy and everyone's like, wow, this is the only way to hedge against what's about to come. And I don't want to scare people, but you got to be ready. And if you're not ready by 2030, and I'm not going to go too much into detail, if you're not ready, then you might as well just give in the reins. Like you're going to be fighting. It's either a fight with yourself, with your family, with your mind, whatever it is, you're going to be left. You have to be ready before 2030. I can't emphasize this enough. Ty, myself, a few others on this call, we've had the privilege to sit with some extremely high level individuals. They know what's coming. If those people are talking about it, if those people know what's happening, we got to be ready. Now, financial freedom is the only way to set yourself up. And I want everyone to listen. There's a lot of parents here today. And I'm going to shift a little bit away from crypto because this is what you need. If you don't want your kids to be owned by the state, meaning you have no control of what your children are learning today in school, if you're not allowed to go and ask what they're teaching, if your kids can't even come home to you and say, hey, I heard this in school. Hey, my teacher came in and had this weird thing in front of her name and explained to me what that was. If you don't want these things, like, I need you to listen. You can pay for your children to go in the best schools that you research, that you've heard, really good things for, that Patrick Betts, David's children go to, Elon Musk children go to, like you homeschool them. You know how expensive it is to like get a tutor to come or find a community? Like, when you can go to another dad and you shake that dad's hand and you have those, those I'll kill you if you ever do something to my child, and you shake on it and you're like, hey, let's homeschool together. That's community. What once was is no longer. Community is being destroyed. Families are being destroyed. In movies, in social media, the only thing that's being promoted is how not to be a family unit. Now, if you look at the most successful people in the world, and I'm talking about the families, they own everything. Okay, I'm not talking about the individuals that go out and party. Anyone can be wealthy, but I'm talking about the real wealth. They're families, and they leave things behind for generations to come. Now, a lot of us, including me, did not have the privilege of, getting handed down $300, $400 million, or even 300,000, heck, 10,000. I mean, it's hard. I want to be the change in my family so that I can leave houses for my children. I can leave businesses for my children. I can leave a legacy for my children. I can go to heaven knowing that I've done enough on this earth and helped enough people get woken up from the actual reality of what's going on and not the chasm of what's being told. Now, we all got a oblong box in our house that's telling us constantly what to do. We're literally being told how to live our lives. Now, with this education that me and Ty found, I was able to think outside of the box, and I was able to look on the other side of the box, behind the box, and I've just learned a lot of things in the last 4 or 5 years. Dang, it's all almost been 4 5 years, Ty, that I've never thought was possible. I had no clue. Guys, I used to be a bartender. I worked restaurants for 10 years. I know how to serve. Here you go. How are you? Would you like another drink? Oh, your food wasn't good enough. Let me bring that back for you. Okay. No, I was really bad at math. I even till this day, like I need Siri. I need my calculator, but I know how to make money. Once I understood that I can use my phone for maths, but I can still make money, and I don't need math the way they taught me in school. I'm like, what's happening in the world? So all I want you guys to really listen to is take the next 2 to 5 years. What are we? 2024. It's almost finished. Really take the next 2 to 5 years. I urge you to try it at least for like a year and see what's gonna happen. And literally change the way that your family is now, like your family's path, the trajectory of your family, because it's so much bigger than us, so much bigger than me. I'm 31. I'm young. Like it's most like I'm looking at the faces here. Like we're all pretty much like young. We're not like, we're not done. Okay. Even the KFC, the Colonel, he invented like KFC at like how was he? Like 61, 62, or even older? It's insane. Like I saw this story of this other person the other day. He invented something at like 65, going into 70, had like the craziest body. I'm like, man, doesn't matter how old you are, but if you're younger, even better. You got some time to really hustle and make some changes, and make sure that you follow the right people, because there's a lot of leaders that don't lead you into the right path. So it's so important to stick with the ones that you can trust. And I'm Academy is that place for me where I was able to really flourish. And I know Ty, and I know, Zeph, and I see so many other names, Lisa. We got so many Lisas here. I'm just gonna say all the Lisas and Maria. And it's like I've seen people grow in this company. I've seen people, ask questions, and I've seen them, invest and set something up for themselves and for the next generation. And I just want to tell every single person here that you can do it. You know, don't listen to the noise outside. I know it's hard. I know people around me want to talk to about me to Trump and whatever's happening in the Olympics. Like I literally tell them like I don't care. And they get offended. They get like, "Oh my God, that's so." I'm like, "Well, it's my time, it's my life. I don't care." So take your own life back. Take charge again of what once was ours, that we've lost in the last few years, especially after COVID, and things are speeding up and we're just all over the place. Let's take back what was ours and let's do it together. And I think with a team like this, oh, we can go to crazy, crazy places with all of us. Yeah, man. I just want to say thank you, Ty, for inviting me. And yeah, I know we did crypto, but we went a little bit into that personal development. But I
Can't
like
help
these
it,
like
right?
casual
It's
talks,
part of it's
nothing
part of
planned.
who we are. Like, and that's it. I know where we're going, right? So I mean, the perfect transition, bro. Thank you so much, guys. Drop some love and appreciation for Damon giving us his night. I know he's got to jump on another Zoom now with all his World of Women stuff that he's involved with. So thanks so much, bro. That was so good having you as always. Looking forward to seeing you face to face when I'm back in the country. But guys, I'm going to share my screen one more time because there's two things, and Damon touched on one of them. First one being where we're going? Well, Mexico in November. So 3rd to the 5th, there's already a dozen of us from New Zealand traveling to this event. You just don't know what you don't know. There's a reason why I have gone to Arizona, Miami, Croatia, Budapest. I don't know, just to get into rooms with our educators, to get in our rooms with our leaders. Because like I said, the psychology factor of what we're doing here is everything. you getting in a room with people that are doing this. Like it's one thing to do this by yourself on a screen. If you're the only person in your town, my heart goes out to you. Because in the beginning, I was by myself. There was no one initially around me and we were in lockdowns. But when you get into a room with thousands and thousands of people that are doing this, yes, it costs you a few thousand to do that, but it's an experience and a growth curve experience for you internally that just propels you to a different space. And just like that, I mean, it's, learning some mindset things, some skill set things, but really then zooming out and looking at this. You can go to CoinGlass and look at this Bitcoin rainbow chart. Some of you may have seen it before. Just realizing, like, when the price of Bitcoin is in these blue and indigo, purple, whatever zones down here, these are historically really phenomenal times to be buying this stuff and paying attention. And this is why I'm saying, like, we are in one of these zones, obviously, right now. This was the full-on bear market down here when you dip super low. Yes, we've pushed up, but historically, you can see that these cycle tops have come when we're in these orange and red phases. And we got a lot of space to go to get there. Like, we've broken down where we think it could go in the future, but even just realizing that, like, the next 18 months are going to be absolutely bonkers. And I say that in a sense of bonkers, like, yes, price will go up, but there's going to be a whole lot of up and down in that process. And the only way to navigate those downs, like we just had with the VIX spiking and all those things recently, is you growing internally to weather the storm of that and building your belief that this is still a space that you believe in. And you've got to personally educate yourself to know that, because the weak hands get shaken out when things dip. When things crash, that's when a lot of people go, this is a scam, I'm too scared, I'm not used to, and they sell at the bottom and they lose money. The only way you lose here is if you sell low and walk away at the wrong time. But realizing that we are being guided by professionals that have been doing this for far longer. I think Cobain's been with the Academy now for 9 years or something. So Mike Ciciero's been at this for 8 years. Guys, we're being guided by professionals who I've been watching a little bit on YouTube every now and then as well, just to get a really holistic view of everything, not just drinking from one fountain. And it was just so encouraging to realize, man, our educators are just different. They're not pumping random coins. They're not sending me to some random exchange because they get money from that. They're literally just paid to teach us in a private environment. And I just love the authenticity factor of that and how they break it all down. And also in previous cycles, they've talked about some coins that, didn't go perfectly, because none of them all do. And that's why we don't put all our eggs in one basket. But right now, just hear me now, believe me later, this is a very unique time and season to be paying attention. I'm still all about learning how to trade. I still do that actively. I did a little bit last week while I was here testing out things on the New York Open. But this is a season where I believe paying attention to crypto, building a portfolio is going to be a season that we all wish for in the long-term future. So with that, guys, I want to say a huge thank you for tuning, especially at an earlier time than usual. So good to see so many of your faces, and I'm just, love seeing you guys, and it's been a while. Hopefully, not sure if I'll do another one next week because we're still figuring out where we're going to be, and we're traveling, trying to get away on a family safari. We'll keep you posted, if not next week, maybe the one after, but really looking forward to doing more of this. In the meantime, guys, we'll see you on Go Live. Pay attention, get on the sessions, whether that's, Dr. Josh Lee and Brandon Boyd doing things trading wise, or whether it's Kurt and Mike and Nick doing all the things with Swipecoin and crypto. Pay attention, get on those, watch the recordings. I sometimes, if I miss them live, I watch them on 1.5 speed later on just to smash through them and stay up to date. But this is definitely the season to be paying attention and create. Don't just think to yourself, oh man, I wish I had more to invest. Take the time, like I said, take the time to define what you want that life to look like in 2-3 years time. Because 3 years ago, I wasn't honestly quite believing and writing down, I'm going to be traveling the world for 2 months with my family in Africa. And my belief wasn't that high back then. But I've gotten to the point now where I've now realized anything is possible. But it all comes down to the way that everything is invented. Just this mouse is something physical in my hand. It was in someone's mind first. And just like you're living and breathing where you are right now, and you might be holding out for a different future, that future, God knows what it looks like, and you've got to know what it looks like on the inside. You've got to become emotionally invested with that beautiful future that he's calling you to, and write that thing down. Get color on that thing. Understand that it's possible, but if you're not believing for it, you're not just going to randomly stumble into it. It takes living with a high amount of intentionality to step into that level of abundance. So I'll leave it there for us for tonight, guys, but thank you so much for tuning in. Damon, thank you so much for giving us your time as well. We'll see you all in the chat. Get more active in there, and in the meantime, have an amazing evening. If you're in New Zealand, I'm going to go out and get on with the day here in South Africa. So much love to all of you guys. We'll catch up soon. Thanks so much for being here. Good night, everyone.